I make my wines in a very, what they call old world style. Typically when we think of old world European style wines, wines that are lower in alcohol, have less things added to them, aren't usually as ripe and fruit forward. Winemaking is an expression of yourself and your soul. It's a living product. It's a craft, but it's also very artisanal. You only get one shot a year to do it, unlike making beer or any other beverage, so you have to really pay attention. And you have a lot of decisions along the way that you get to make, and those really end up expressing themselves in the wine. It's what they call natural winemaking. So I tend to be very hands-off. I do what they call native yeast fermentations. I don't inoculate with commercial yeast. I use the yeast that exist on the grape skins. One of the things that I do when I make the red wines is something called stem inclusion or whole cluster. It's a practice that's more used by small winemakers typically, and it can vary. It's popular with things like Pinot Noir, Syrah. I like to do it because I don't use any new barrels or new oak, which one of the reasons why you use new oak barrels is to add tannin or structure, but it also adds a flavor component that I don't like. And when you use the stems have tannins as well, what they call longer chain molecule tannins, which are softer, which is nice. I don't want the wines to be really astringent or harsh on the tongue. So the stem inclusion does that. You also have some of the grapes don't get crushed. They have whole berries, and that produces what they call a carbonic maceration or fermentation, which gives, when the grapes ferment, literally inside the grape itself, it produces a really nice, kind of light, pretty, bright aromatic. I make what are called Rhone varieties, and this term comes from, these are grapes that were originally planted in the Rhone Valley in France, which is two regions, the northern Rhone, where they grow primarily Syrah, is the red grape, Viognier, Marsanne, and Roussanne. In the southern Rhone, they have 23 different Rhone varieties, things like Grenache, Mourvedre, Grenache Blanc. We don't have all those in California, unfortunately, so I work with about 11 Rhone varieties, which is about as many as you can find here. And I really like, the Rhone varieties are made both as a single variety, so 100% Syrah, 100% Grenache Blanc, but they are most common in France as blends. And that's the philosophy that I also use. My white 100% Grenache Blanc is something that has really gotten a lot of attention and press. It's a very uncommon grape variety in California. There's only about 225 acres planted. Very widely planted in Spain and France, but just kind of came to California about 10 years ago. And I tend to make it in like all of my wines, a more food-friendly, higher acid style, lower alcohol, a little more complexity than you will find in a lot of those, which I think is kind of signature of my wine anyway. I'm looking forward to bringing my Rhone-style wines to the San Diego International Wine Show and pouring them for you.